Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to Stamp PC Gaming. Today we're going to be interviewing 8-Pack Ian Parry about his Orion X PC. Enjoy.
Where do we start? Where do you want to start? Where's your favourite part of the machine?
Well,
honestly,
I think the most prominent part of the Orion X is the look and the fact that there's two probably, not probably, but certainly world-class, overclocked, efficient, fully tuned out PCs in one chassis. No one's ever competed with the 8-Pack brand in say one of these levels. But here we've got two PCs in the same rig. We've got an ITX Z270 rig in the bottom here, cooled by the red coolant, and then we've got a X99, which is like a 10-core, 20-thread CPU, again heavily tuned in the top rig, which is cooled by the grey coolant. And then obviously we've got a plethora of graphics cards and storage options, memory in both systems, all absolutely maxed out. So this is not like your average gaming rig. This is like the world's best gaming rig times two.
yeah, it's got all sorts of stuff pumped into it. Going back to the graphics cards, what we're running?
Well, here, this is the demonstration machine that we first showed in Taiwan. And at that time, the 1080 had just come out. So this was like the first rig to ever get 1080. But the version that you can now buy online can take 3 or 4 Titan X in the top rig. That's the Pascal version of the Titan. And in the bottom rig, because of customer feedback, initially we chose no GPU in the bottom rig and just to use it like as a file server, a media server, to control all the cooling for the top rig, all this kind of stuff. But we've now added a Titan X also in the bottom rig. So in terms of GPUs, you've got a minimum of 2000 megahertz overclock on the core of the card, and up to 1500 or 6000 real on the memories, times 3 or 4 in the top rig, and then times 1 in the bottom rig. But of course, the customer can configure how they want.
Yeah.
I mean, with the 8-Pack range of systems, we say like a full ATX system is always a minimum of 3 cards in the top system, but they can choose 3 or 4, and then in the bottom system they can choose 1 or none. I mean, if they choose none, obviously then they're going for like the file server, the internet browser, the no overhead for the top system, just general everyday use rather than a second gaming class or rendering class rig.
Yeah.
I mean, and in the bottom system, they can put anything like 1080 or Titan X, it's up to them. I mean, that was from feedback from several of my customers who wanted actually more power in the bottom system than just a file server or a gaming server or this kind of thing.
You get a lot of YouTubers and the like that will use the bottom system for rendering while they can still game or even record on the top system, don't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea of a system like this actually putting two totally maxed out, very, very high-class systems in one rig is that kind of approach, really. For the professional who is also a gamer or also wants to do several things on their PC at once. I mean, I've got some customers who have 2 or above of my rigs, and they've all said, oh, can you not do it in one chassis? It's more convenient, so on and so on. And here with this, we've got, you can have the top rig or bottom rig doing the rendering, whichever you see as priority. Yeah. I guess most people, if they are doing heavy rendering, would use the 3 or 4 graphics cards in the top rig for rendering. Then they'd switch to the bottom rig and carry on with their work, or use it for gaming or anything else possible, because the bottom rig can also game in 4K. Or again, they can switch. Their rendering can take longer on the bottom rig, slightly longer because it's only on one card, and they can game multimedia, 3 4K screens, racing simulator, anything they want on the top rig at the same time. So it's kind of a one-for-all rig.
Yeah. Well, let's have a chat about the case anyway. Where did that come from? Because it's your own branding.
The case is built by Fantex. It's what they now call the Enzo Elite. I had the case. This case actually was the first one in the world. And when I got it, it was called Project 916. It was a engineering sample, this case. But obviously, since June, when Computex was, when we first showed the Orion, it's now come out to retail. But yeah, Fantex are working very closely with myself and OCUK and Case King to bring the absolute optimum chassis for water cooling. And also this one here, they've got their own tooling for the standard version, and then they've added special tooling for like the 8-pack reservoir at the front and other tweaks to the chassis that we've done to fit even more water cooling hardware. But I'd say if you're going to build an ATX motherboard system with several graphics cards, this chassis has got you covered in every possible way. I mean, obviously, not many people are going to be able to rack it out like we have here. And the idea, of course, when we showed this at Computex was to show off the chassis and the new hardware that was actually being shown for the first time at Computex. So we wanted to showcase everything in one PC. So the more we could put in there, the better. And here you can see it can run 2 rigs, no problem. We've got 4 really large size radiators. We've got 3 pumps, a huge reservoir, several acrylic plates. It's pretty much racked out.
Yeah.
Maybe in this rig there's like 30 terabytes of storage, crazy amount of SSDs, NVMe drives, and since Computex, obviously, it's also been to like iSeries, Gamescom, and recently to CES in Vegas. And obviously, with our partners Fantex, Asus, Intel, etc., we're showcasing everyone's hardware and really pushing it to the limits.
Yeah, going back to liquid, if you look close, you can see the actual liquid flowing through, which isn't an easy effect to do with water cooling. How have you gone about it?
I mean, that was something we wanted to do from a visual. Like, we wanted people to see the fluid moving and get that effect, especially from the other rigs that are here, like the Rocket and the Meteoroid. We've done this effect in the base before, but we've never done it up the I/O, and no one actually has ever done it in the I/O. But we really liked the effect of where the liquid is actually seen, and also you can see it zigzagging across the cards, kind of like the Virgin Media advert where it's like this at the screen, and it gives that appearance of speed. Yeah. You know, it was like, oh, this is like lightning fast, like lightning up the rig. So that's essentially why we wanted to get this effect. And the liquid actually was provided by Mick at Mayhem's. He's a very close friend of mine, going back since I was about 15 years old, actually. I was buying radiators from his partner then when he owned Thermachill. And he mixed me up some special liquid that is available to buy, but this is, if you like, an enhanced version with more effect, so you can see it even more. Yeah.
What is it that creates the effect?
It's very, very tiny particles that are reflecting light in the water.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people that said that this fluid, there can be issues with it clogging up blocks or pumps or so on because of the particles. But I'm running this also at home in my own rig for years, and it's working absolutely perfectly. Providing you spec the water cooling well, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, you pay for what you get.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with all 8-pack rigs, we are testing everything to the nth degree to make sure that the QC is perfect. You know, to keep our customers very happy with the product.
I'm not surprised. Is there anything in there that isn't custom? Because we keep talking about special custom. Is it, apart from the RAM?
I guess. Of course, a lot of the parts, I guess, are not custom, if you like. But the way they're put together is the custom thing.
Yeah.
You know, the rads, for example, are just normal water cooling rads. The CPU blocks are normal CPU block. The GPU blocks, normal GPU blocks. The hardware, all of it, you can buy off the shelf. I mean, what you cannot get, though, off the shelf is the fact that the hardware in here is specially selected for overclockability.
Yeah.
So maybe we take 100 CPUs and test them for, say, the Z270 system, and there'll only be like 5 or 10 out of the 100 that'll be good enough to go in this system because of the performance levels we demand.
Yeah, silicon lottery.
Similar with the top system, again, it's a very low percentage. I mean, the CPUs in Orion X are typically those that can create world records if you bench them on liquid nitrogen or even lower cooling. But obviously those ones that can create world records are also better for gaming, rendering, and so on, because you can run them faster while they remain cool at low voltage, and therefore it doesn't degrade the lifespan, if you like. Yeah. So the CPU will last equally as long running, say, 5.2 or 5.3, even though it's only a 4.4 or 4.5 chip. if you select the right ones.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of this is going into Orion X. We're hand selecting every component. So CPU, GPU, memory is all selected.
Yeah. Are all your systems pre-built, or can you?
No, none are pre-built.
No, I mean, for instance, if we went onto your site, would you be able to buy it for us to make up at home?
No.
No.
No. I
Right.
mean, the expertise needed for the acrylic, for example, is really very, very tough. I mean, you
It's
need
not
your own
something I'd want to
CNC,
undertake.
your own tapping machine, your own. You need to be able to do the O-rings. You need to be an expert in CAD. I mean,
Wow.
to develop the plates, which especially like are 2 or even 3 layers, like the reservoir, is taking a lot of time for experts.
Yeah.
Something like Orion X is taking 2 to 3 weeks to build. For guys who I consider the world's best builders, either some of our guys within technical, who I've personally trained, or GR23, Joe Roby, who is one of the greatest modders on the planet as far as I'm concerned, he's also building, or myself. So it's not like something that, I mean, between us we've got 100 years experience maybe. So it's really not something that people could build themselves.
Yeah.
And when we've discussed this kind of thing at shows with modders, even modders have said that, who are world-class modders entering competitions, have said that they would not be able to build this.
No, it's.
Or if they did, it would take them 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. What is the build time for a system?
If people on the order on the website, around 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow, that's not bad going.
No, I mean, to say that the acrylic itself is depending on the spec of the system, taking time to redesign and change by CAD and so on, because obviously if you have more graphics cards, different features and so on, each time the plates need to be changed slightly.
Yeah.
And obviously we need to cut more plates, tap them, seal with O-rings, etc., etc. I think that's really a respectable build time.
It is one hell of a unit. And finally, have you got a favourite system you've built?
Well, I mean, I think
Or is
Orion
she
is
sat
actually
there?
probably my favourite at the moment, just for really the amazing look and the fact that we've got 2 world-class systems in one chassis.
Yeah.
2 systems that are really like beating anything else in their class on the planet, but they're in one chassis. I mean, myself at home, my own rig is an 8-pack Supernova, and I also really like the design of that with the 8-pack pass-through down the back of the unit. That's where the fluid's flowing. And I also helped design the case from scratch with Leanne Lee. So that the case is entirely like my own design, really.
Yeah.
Whereas this case was more Fantex's design, which we had input in. So I guess either the Orion or the Supernova.
That's brilliant.
I mean, the Supernova is one of our probably the most popular 8-pack PC, which is kind of strange to say because it's a very expensive PC. But people, I guess, if people have got like 5,000 or 6,000 to spend on a PC, have 14 or 12.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
that
yeah.
kind of customer. If they've decided, I want the best, so I don't care about another, And I think for me, the Supernova is I think my favourite, I guess. But if I could have Orion, I probably would also.
Yeah, so would I.
I mean, at home, I also have something very similar to Rocky.
These
just
are
to
cool.
take to LAN events. I mean, it really depends, what you need the PC for.
Yeah,
And
it
at
is.
this level, a lot of time we're consulting with the customer. So customers can actually talk to myself or people who are building and say, oh, this is what I'm using it for, and we can spec accordingly.
Yeah.
And obviously they can input into the design, so they can have any colour, fluids, any configuration really of hardware, all this kind of stuff.
Brilliant. Yeah. I think we're running out of time.
Okay.
All right,
fine.
man. But thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Good to meet you.
You too.